in the weeks and months ahead. Gerald Kessel, CNN, Jerusalem.
An explosion at a sugar plant in Scottsbluff, Nebraska has injured 15 people, 2 of them seriously. One man is still trapped in the factory, but the building is said to be too unstable to allow rescue workers inside. Structural engineers are on the scene looking for ways to secure the structure. Last night's blast leveled 7 of the factory's 8 sugar silos. Residents of one North Carolina community hard hit by Hurricane Bertha won't be getting government assistance to rebuild. More than 10 years ago, federal officials warned developers planning to build on North Topsail Beach that the area was unsafe. The rapidly eroding beach there is only a few feet above sea level, but the building continued in Bertha has damaged nearly every house there. Now, the town and its residents will likely have to pay for the rebuilding costs themselves. For many teenagers, cranking loud music is part of growing up, but it can do irreparable damage to their hearing. Linda Champa looks at ways to protect young ears.
Kathy Peck is singing again. For about a decade, Peck had to put her singing career on hold because of a hearing loss. She attributes the loss to 5 years of singing with a rock group.
Is this a consolation prize of being in music is to have hearing damage? It shouldn't happen.
Doctors were able to restore some of Peck's hearing through surgery, and today when she sings, she protects her ears with headsets. She now runs an organization in San Francisco called Hear. Musicians and fans get hearing tests and receive custom-made earplugs that lower the volume of music. Audiologist Jolie Fanberg says parents should make their children aware early of the need to protect their hearing.
Children are raised with these issues, then it's going to become part of their life. And just like people now wearing sunscreen, you know, from the very beginning they put sunscreen on their babies, and so the kid gets the idea, I wear sunscreen when I go outside.
So when is the sound too loud? Music that you can feel, gunshots, firecrackers, lawnmowers, chainsaws, or anything that you have to raise your voice over in order to be heard, can all damage hearing over a period of time.
I mean, it starts out with a temporary, what we call a temporary threshold shift. And then if you've ever been to a rock concert and come out, you feel like sometimes even for a day or two that your hearing is decreased. That eventually becomes permanent.
Signs that may indicate a child has hearing damage include ringing in the ears, ear pain, behavioral problems, or poor school performance. As far as protecting hearing goes, most earplugs that you can pick up at the pharmacy for a couple of dollars will do the trick. These headsets that muffle sound are also good choices. Of course, the challenge is to get kids to use these in loud situations. Because as Kathy Peck learned, hearing may be something that many take for granted, but when it's gone, so too can be a dream. Linda Champa, CNN.
Full slate of events is on tap today. The day, in fact, has already begun with a 7.02 seconds in a qualifying heat. The gold medal favorite, U.S. women's softball team, also tasted success today. They pasted Puerto Rico in a preliminary match 10-0. This first ever Olympic softball game came to a quick conclusion when the 10-run rule was invoked in the 6th inning. Medals will also be awarded in a number of other events today, including cycling, fencing, judo, shooting, swimming, weightlifting, and wrestling. And in basketball, the U.S. women's dream team will begin competition today, taking on Cuba. Up next in headline consumer news, the tug of war over quality time when kids travel with working parents. Also still ahead, reassembling aviation history.
This is Headline News, a CNN network.
When you choose to cruise, call 1-800-TAKE-OFF and save up to 50% off on selected sailings. At 1-800-TAKE-OFF, your cruise purchase is fully insured. Call 1-800-TAKEOFF.
This is about how your business can build new profit centers without bulldozing your budget. About looking bigger than you are. This is about call centers, people, and technology that can capture new customers, answer questions, and process orders 24 hours a day. And it's not just for the rich, the powerful, or the daring. Because there's a way you can get the help, hardware, software, and advanced toll-free service to create your call center. All you have to know is how. Network MCI, that's how.
They were really growing up fast. Too fast. All Kelly talked about was going to high school, and all I could think about was paying for college. Sure, I played around with a few mutual funds, but I was no expert. So I started talking to someone who could help, a broker at Dean Witter.
We must plan for our client's future as if it were our own.
Funny. Kids think their parents always have the right answers. I'm just making sure I do.
We measure success, one investor at a time.
How do you know if you have termites? Call the experts at 1-800-TERMINIX. Terminix offers the best termite guarantees in the business. Call 1-800-TERMINIX while you still can.
It's about power. It's about conflict. Balance of power. Presidents and Congress from the era of McCarthy to the age of Gingrich. By former Speaker of the House, Jim Wright. Now in bookstores everywhere.
Working parents are learning that business and family don't have to be like oil and water. Some moms and dads are now combining business trips with family outings, as Lisa Price reports.
Many of today's business travelers are no longer traveling solo. They packed up their laptops, and now their children, too.
I miss my kids when I'm not with them, so having to leave them by themselves without them for a whole week would have been sad. I like being able to just sort of drop her off in the morning and she has fun and comes back in the afternoon.
Once frowned upon, corporate America is finally warming to the idea that business and family can successfully travel in the same circles.
In terms of an employer that wants the image of being somewhat family-friendly, you know, I think that's really important in today's environment for attracting a certain segment of the population.
Statistics compiled by the Travel Industry of America show a definite increase in the number of work-family vacations. 15%, or 41 million, of business trips taken last year included children, up from 12% in 1990. Tell Dad you need one of these. The travel industry is paying attention to those numbers. Hotels are bending over backwards to attract the parental business class.
We try to have everything ready in their room just as they arrive. So it's all set up, the cribs and all the things that they might need, all set up in advance.
Each team's going to have roughly 5 minutes.
During the summer months, many parents take their children on business trips, not only because they want to, but because they have to.
I always think it's important for your boss to know that you're taking your child, but sometimes that's just not possible. But if your boss does know, then I would always tap into the resources at the other end to help you find good child care.
Jordan recommends if parents choose to bring children along, they discuss ahead of time just how much time kids can expect to spend with parents and plan the time they'll be apart. But even under the best circumstances, life on the road can be lonely for everybody involved.
Well, at restaurants, because, see, they talk and they kind of leave me out.
Most parents must foot the bill, but say it's a price they are willing to pay.
We don't incur that great an expense compared to the benefits that are gained from it. So we think it's an expense that's well worth it.
Lisa Price for CNN, Chicago.
Does Nick Faldo have another comeback in his bag? Headline Sports is up next.
This is Headline News, a CNN network.
I'm Derek Thomas. I knock things down. Mostly, I knock down quarterbacks. I hold the record for 7 sacks in 1 game. These new Reebok Hostile Cross trainers fit me so well. I get extra traction to hit harder. You want to perform better? Get the certified fit technicians at the Athlete's Foot to custom fit your Reebok Hostile Cross Trainer. Nobody knows the Athlete's Foot like the Athlete's Foot.
Sprint has a great offer for your small business. A year of long distance on Fridays free.
I'll call you next Friday.
Call now 1-800-598-5000 and don't miss another free Friday at work only from Sprint Business.
A world in which all people are closer together. Every 2 years, for a few glorious weeks, it becomes easier to imagine. International Paper is a proud sponsor of the Olympic Summer Games.
I'll never go back to denture paste or powders.
Here's why. C-Bond Denture Adhesive. 2 powerful adhesives in a soft micro-thin seal bonds dentures to your gums. Can hold comfortably all day. No mess, easy to remove.
You'll never go back.
C-Bond.
Ramada is a nice place. Holiday Inn is a nice place. But when you stay 4 nights at Ramada, you can order one of over 100 Republic Picture videos absolutely free. Here, you'll get 4 nights older. So you can go home with a great personality or no personality. And maybe that's why last year, 23 million people chose Ramada over Holiday Inn. All things being equal, we're better. So call 1-800-2-RAMADA.
Headline Sports. Minnesotan Tom Lehman is in search of his first win in a major after 2 near brushes with greatness at the Masters and the U.S. Open. Lehman is hoping to close out the British Open field, but he'll have to survive the steely gaze of one Nick Faldo to do it. Lehman's course record 7 under par 64 Saturday sends him off with a 6-shot lead over Faldo. That's the same spread Greg Norman took into the final round of the Masters. But who's afraid of Nick Faldo?
I learned a lot by watching that. You know, I felt really bad, for what happened, but it's the kind of thing that can happen, I think, when you start paying attention to the guy that you're playing with.
Here's what's happening thus far in the final round. Lehman is still nursing a lead, but Fred Couples, Mark Brooks, Nick Faldo, Ernie Els, and Mark McCumber are in the hunt. Saturday was day 2 of the Summer Games. Angel Martino provided the magic moment. Martino won the bronze in the 100-meter free and then displayed classic Olympic style by giving up the medal to Tricia Henry, a friend waging a war with cancer.
She's just been an inspiration to me, and I think she's a hero, and I told her I wish I would have waited till later, till everyone was gone to give it to her. I didn't mean to embarrass her. I think she was shocked, but I wanted it to inspire her to give back, and I just think she's terrific.
The New York Rangers are expected to announce the signing of Wayne Gretzky this afternoon. The Great One is believed to be ready to sign on for the next 2 seasons. It would reunite Gretzky with former Edmonton Oilers teammate Mark Messier. Oakland's Todd Van Poppel went into a vapor lock last night in Texas. The A's reliever Wild pitched in a run and then started popping off to the ump while the runners were advancing. Van Poppel cut the gabfest short and threw wildly as another run scored in the 8-4 loss that ended the A's 4-game win streak. Mark McGwire with number 34 in the defeat. 1 game separates San Diego, Colorado, and Los Angeles in the NL West. 1 run made winners out of the Rockies and losers of the Padres and Dodgers. Colorado crept within a half game of the Padres with homers from Walt Weiss and pitcher Roger Bailey in the 5-4 win. The San Francisco Giants got by Los Angeles when Robbie Thompson, he of .219 batting average fame, came through with the 2-run single in the bottom of the 9th for the 7-6 win to drop the Dodgers a game out. That darn Bjorn Reese ended Miguel Indurain's reign at the Tour de France. Reese is the first Dane to ever win cycling's most prestigious event. Steve Wrigley, Headline Sports.
This is Headline News, a CNN network.
There's an American tire company that's been making high-quality tires since 1914. It's not the name you were thinking of, is it? Cooper, your next set of tires.
They were robbed.
No.
Don't let this happen to you.
All that money?
Robbed blind by an energy thief. Protect yourself with the Weathermaker from Carrier, the world's leading brand. It's the most energy-efficient air conditioner around. It'll save you up to 60% on your cooling costs.
60%? Wow.
Hey, the Mitchells are getting new gutters.
Call your Carrier dealer. It'd be a crime to call anyone else.
Finding a low-priced tire isn't that hard, but when price and quality get in step, then you're dancing to our tune. Cooper, your next set of tires.
Actor Robert Downey Jr. has been arrested again. He was picked up yesterday after he allegedly broke bail by walking out of a court-ordered drug treatment program. It was his third arrest in a month. Downey's new bail has been set at $250,000, but a judge has agreed to reduce it if Downey is released to a lockdown rehabilitation center. In most baseball parks, when the home team loses, it's a drag. In Palm Springs, California, when the home team loses, the men dress in drag. The Palm Springs Suns are trying to boost attendance with a female impersonator night. The minor league team had planned a nude night, but gave up the idea, fearing too many people would show up. The National Air and Space Museum in Washington also goes to great lengths to dazzle its customers. Jim Angle explains more.
Here in the world's most popular museum and nestled near America's most famous flying machines is one of the least known but most important in American aviation history.
This was America's first entry into jet aviation. And as we know today, jets have become very important.
In 1942, fearing German development of jet fighters, the U.S. jumped in with the P-59, known as the Aero Comet. It was never used in combat, but it did prove that jet fighters would work, even though it took some getting used to for the pilots who flew them.
It was almost a magic feeling. To me, it felt kind of as if I were being towed by an invisible tow plane, like I was a glider. It just was moving down the runway for no apparent reason.
Unfortunately, you can't just fly these planes into the museum. They have to be taken apart, brought here in pieces, and reassembled.
You can't bring an airplane with a 50 whatever downtown without wiping out a lot of trees or one set of wings.
Getting it here wasn't easy, but that was only half the battle.
The original plan for hanging this aircraft in the gallery was to attach a crane to the aircraft, lift it up vertically for a time, and roll it in over the Gemini capsule.
But the plane and the crane together were too heavy for the floor of the museum, so it was back to square one. The museum turned to a system of winches that had only been used with lighter aircraft. But this plane was so heavy, it had to be raised very slowly.
4 inches at a time on each cable, and it takes quite a while, but it's very safe.
In fact, it took 8 hours to lift the plane, 8 hours with America's first jet dangling in midair. But now the P-59 is secure in its place alongside the other milestones of American aviation, and this is the last flight of America's first jet. Jim Angle for CNN, Washington.
You pull back its head and it spits out candy. The Pez dispenser, a very simple and successful concept with lots of fans. At the Pezomania in Cleveland, Ohio, new and old dispensers were on display and on sale. Some of the classic plastic dispensers were priced at over $25. We'll have more news in a couple of minutes. I'm Charles Ziwi, and this is Headline News.
To access CNN Interactive on the World Wide Web, call 1-800-WORLDNET, extension CNN, for free Internet software.
This is Headline News, a CNN network.
Headline News and its sponsor are proud to bring you closed captioning.
1-800-US-SEARCH. Find anyone right now. Only $59.95. Call Nick and Rob. 1-800-US-SEARCH.
Cover your eyes, America. This is the mother lode of monster movies. I will fear no evil. And they run wild. Starting Tuesday, it's Monster Movie Massive, only on Turner Network Television.
This is Headline News, a CNN network.
Be cool about fire safety. Do you know how to escape from your home if there's a fire? You gotta have a plan. They didn't have a plan, but these people do.
Okay, in case of a fire, you and your sister are to go out this door.
Or we can always go out that way. We have 2 exits, okay? And remember, practice makes perfect. So tell your parents, we gotta have a plan.
Be cool about fire safety.
Be cool.
Hi, I'm Carrie Whitaker for Century 21 Home Improvements. Recently, I've been showing people how to create beautiful kitchens like this for substantially less than custom kitchen remodeling. It's called cabinet refacing, and it costs less because your kitchen's original framework is left intact. This free video explains everything. You'll see how Century 21 Home Improvements can completely transform your kitchen in just days. Why wait? Call for your free refacing video today.
Headline News, I'm Charles Zewe. Divers are standing by at this hour on Long Island, New York, as investigators continue searching for wreckage of TWA Flight 800 in the Atlantic Ocean. Navy and Coast Guard officials say they may be called in if video cameras confirm a trail of debris in the ocean is part of the plane. Investigators are trying to find out why that Boeing 747 exploded in midair Wednesday. They're looking for the 2 flight recorders, which could hold clues. But officials say so far sonar devices haven't detected the pinging sounds designed to lead searchers to the boxes when they are submerged.
The problem is that if the pingers are on the side of the recorder, and if for some reason the pinger ends up buried in the sand, if it goes pinger end down into the sand, you know, to a certain depth, a foot or whatever, then that pinger signal is shielded by the sand or a piece of wreckage or whatever it is.
Vice President Al Gore said today it's still too soon to say if terrorists blew up the plane. He says officials hope to recover a large part of the fuselage in the next 48 hours. Richard Roth now with more on the search.
After traveling overnight from port in New York, the Coast Guard cutter Juniper returned to the crash site in waters off Long Island, New York. The day before, the ship had helped collect more than 10 tons of debris and remains from Flight 800. But though skies were brighter, there was nothing to see. Lookouts did their best, but the currents, stiff winds, and time made it much harder to find anything. The night of the crash, the Juniper was the Coast Guard's command ship, guiding rescue boats amidst the flames. Now it is more of a search and support vessel.
We're hoping that we can find that one last piece of the puzzle, if there is still, if it's still available, if it's still floating, and then we'll also support the Navy dive ops that will hopefully find the same thing submerged in the bottom.
The Juniper made countless maneuvers and switched search areas, but nothing turned up. The only news came in communications with other ships.
Roger on that. Press interest also on status of pinging operations, over.
Sergeant Carline, Roger. They have just begun the pinging operations, over. It's a young crew on the Juniper, a modern, newly commissioned Coast Guard ship. None of this crew could have predicted what one of their first missions would be.
Quite emotional when you're recovering personal luggage. The worst was some of the teddy bears and some of the children's toys that we had to pick up. And it's a little difficult when you think that the pile of debris we had on the boat 20 hours before that was 230 living, breathing people.
Some crew members used the services of crisis assistance personnel brought aboard after the difficult first days of search and rescue.
You don't mind it when you're actually doing it, bringing the parts on board or transporting items. It's that letdown time after you have everything on board. It really hit most of the crew, most of the people on board when we transferred the stuff off to the pier.
As the search continues, there's been a huge drop-off in debris collected from the remains of Flight 800.
Between the Juniper and its sister ship, the Harriet Lane, only about 50 pounds of debris has been recovered so far.
A few scraps of metal were taken aboard the cutter Harriet Lane. Investigators are going to need more than that to solve the mystery of Flight 800. The crew of the Juniper vows to remain at sea, searching for pieces of the puzzle. Richard Roth, CNN, on board the U.S. Coast Guard vessel Juniper.
Relatives of the crash victims are criticizing how long it's taking to identify the bodies. 23 of the approximately 100 bodies recovered so far have been identified. About 24 victims' families held a news conference last night to pressure County Medical Examiner Charles Wetley to move faster. One insisted he be fired. Others are demanding to meet with them.
He's given 3 press conferences over these last few days. He has not had the decency to come here and answer our questions. He has sent an underling down here who has been unable to answer. His answer is, I'll talk with Dr. Wetley and get back to you. Why isn't Dr. Wetley here?
A spokeswoman for New York Governor George Pataki says 25 additional people have been sent to assist Wetley and that his office is being monitored hourly. The medical examiner says the slow pace of identifying bodies is necessary to avoid mistakes.
I understand the frustration and anger of the families in that the process is taking a lot longer. There are a number of reasons for this. These are very frequently technical reasons, but we also have to be very accurate, very sure of the identification.
Today, TWA is holding memorial services in St. Louis, Kansas City, and Los Angeles for the 230 people who died in the crash. Memorials were also held in Montoursville, Pennsylvania, which lost 16 high school students and their 5 chaperones. More than 5,000 people packed the town this morning for those church services. A series of bombings by Basque separatists is plaguing Spain today. 500 Dutch tourists were evacuated from a beach resort hotel on the northeast coast of the country while police deactivated a bomb. 13 people were hospitalized after a bomb exploded at a nearby airport last night. 2 other bombs then blew up at beach hotels, but police had time to clear the areas after receiving warnings beforehand. At the Israeli-Lebanon border, a swap between Israel and Hezbollah guerrillas is continuing. The Israelis are handing over Arab prisoners and the remains of more than 100 guerrillas. Israel received the remains of 2 soldiers captured by Hezbollah in 1986. Hezbollah also released 17 captives from Israel's ally, the South Lebanon Army. In return, the SLA will release 45 prisoners. The deal was brokered by German mediators, but the Israeli Prime Minister suspects more parties were involved.
Well, I'm sure Iran had something to say about this. It's obvious. There's no question about an Iranian decision to go ahead with this particular exchange. Whether that signifies a broader change, I cannot say. I think it's too early to say. From our point of view, we'd welcome all efforts that would bring about the return to Israel of our remaining MIAs and POWs.
Israel had planned to ease the closure of its borders with the West Bank and Gaza today, but that's apparently been put on hold. Israel refused to let in thousands of Palestinian workers to protest an arrest by Palestinian authorities in East Jerusalem, where Israel opposes any Palestinian claim to sovereignty. An explosion at a sugar plant in Scottsbluff, Nebraska has injured 15 people, 2 seriously. Local authorities also say 1 man is still trapped in the factory, but the building is too unstable to allow rescue workers inside. Last night's blast levels 7 of the factory's 8 sugar silos and dumped 25-foot mounds of sugar and debris into the street. Investigators say the huge Western power outage on July 2nd was caused by a tree growing too close to a power line in Idaho. Electricity from a 345,000-volt line flashed over to the tree, putting an even greater strain on systems coping with record demands during the hot weather. The tree has since been removed. The blackout affected 2 million people in more than a dozen states, Mexico, and Canada. The race for the Reform Party presidential nomination is heating up. Texas billionaire Ross Perot and former Colorado Governor Dick Lamb are turning now to conventions for support. Tony Clark reports.
It was the first face-to-face challenge to Ross Perot's leadership of the party he created.
Former Colorado Governor Dick Lamb is campaigning to become the Reform Party's presidential nominee.
We all watched, most of us watched the opening of the Olympics last night and that wonderful, tear-inspiring passing of the torch. I am asking you a gift of great honor. I'm asking you to pass me the torch. Thank you.
Lamb faces a formidable obstacle in Perot, who has both money and clout with party members. Like Lamb, Perot appeared at Reform Party conventions in Virginia and Maine on Saturday, and he made it clear he wants to head the Reform Party ticket.
I want to be the Reform Party candidate because I love this country. I love the principles on which this country was founded. I love the people in this country, and I'm absolutely committed to the people who work hard, play by the rules, do everything right, rear good children, serve in the armed forces, and are good patriotic citizens. And that's why I'm doing it.
Perot and Lamb never appeared on stage together. Instead, they spoke separately, cataloging problems facing the country.
My generation can't even pay its own way, but we put it on our children's credit card.
We've got to have a detailed blueprint to balance the budget. We've got to have a balanced budget amendment. We've got to stop keeping items off the budget. We need an annual financial report where you and I know if they're staying on schedule. And we want a real line item veto.
Perot used his trademark charts and graphs to explain federal spending and taxes.
The man is a thinker, and he's intelligent. I think he'd be the right man for the job.
Maine was a stronghold of support for Perot in 1992. He won 30% of the vote here, finishing second to Bill Clinton in the last presidential election, and still has supporters in Maine, though Lamb is making inroads.
If I had a vote today, I think I'd go with Mr. Lamb, to tell you the truth.
I'm just not sure that Ross is as electable as he was 4 years ago.
Now, I believe that in Virginia today that there were certainly more Ross Perot signs, and there probably was here too, but I really felt that in the Maine people, typically Maine, they were trying to give us both a chance, and they were being fair and listening to us both. I have no idea how it would come out of here. All I do is sing my song and see what the people say.
Neither Perot nor Lamb directly criticized the other, and in a show of friendly competition, the Texas billionaire even gave his less well-financed competitor a ride in his private jet to Maine, though Lamb paid for it to stay within federal election spending rules. Reform Party officials hope to announce the winners of the first round of balloting on Thursday. Those are the candidates who have been named on more than 10% of the nominating petitions. Those candidates will have the opportunity to address Reform Party members at their convention in Long Beach, California on August 11th. Then it will be up to Reform Party members to decide whether to dance with the man who brought them or pick a new partner. Tony Clark, CNN, Augusta, Maine.
It's been a record-setting day so far for women at the Olympics. South Africa's Penny Haynes bested her own world record at the 100-meter breaststroke with a time of 1 minute, 7.02 seconds. Galina Valieva set a new record in the preliminaries of the women's 10-meter air pistol competition, but a Russian competitor wound up winning the gold. The gold medal favorite U.S. women's softball team opened its competition today, blanking Puerto Rico 10-0. This first ever Olympic softball game came to an early conclusion when the 10-run rule was invoked in the 6th inning. Medals will be awarded in these events today: cycling, fencing, judo, shooting, swimming, weightlifting, and wrestling. 2 other U.S. women's teams are starting their competition today. The women's gymnastics team begins competition, and in basketball, the U.S. women's dream team will take on Cuba this afternoon. Coming up next in Headline Consumer News, if history's right, the stock market's yo-yoing is a good sign. And later, model train lovers have plenty to chew about.
Hot weather will cover much of the interior west today. Cool 70s are expected from the Great Lakes into the northeast.
This is Headline News, a CNN network.
Your daughter has an American Express student card. She'll be able to get great deals on flights home.
It gives you more choices.
With that card, you can extend the payments. It's very flexible.
You're going to get a reward point for every dollar you spend.
Our senior member card has a lower fee.
It gives you some more options. I'm sure we've got a card that'll work for you.
Whoever you are, American Express helps you do more. In the past 2 years, the Oldsmobile Aurora has earned quite a reputation for itself. As a force to be reckoned with in the luxury performance market, and as a remarkably good investment. But perhaps one of its greatest accomplishments is its incredibly attractive lease payment. For a limited time, lease an Aurora for just $399 a month and $2,600 down.
An emotional firestorm, one of the very best movies of 1996. Sandra Bullock, Samuel L. Jackson, Matthew McConaughey, Kevin Spacey. A Time to Kill. Rated R. Starts Wednesday, July 24th.
Good morning, guys.
Just when you think your diarrhea medicine is working.
Oh, boy. What's wrong?
It can let you down. But you can count on Imodium AD to stop diarrhea, often in just one dose, instead of dose after dose, more than a third of a bottle of the pink stuff. And Imodium AD is even better than the leading prescription.
I told you we should have stopped for Imodium AD.
Imodium AD, one dose relief you can count on.
To help you better understand the issues and the candidates, CNN will devote more time and resources to covering the conventions than the other three networks combined. For the most complete coverage of the Republican National Convention, turn to CNN.
The FCC is working on implementing the telecommunications overhaul Congress passed 5 months ago. The agency is expected to have rules in place by August 1st. The law would open the $100 billion local phone business to rival long-distance and cable TV companies and would dramatically change how Americans get their phone service and how much they pay for it. Wall Street's recent roller coaster ride may give some investors reason to worry, but William S. Rukeyser reports a review of the stock market's past may provide some comfort.
If history holds, get ready to pop the champagne and let go of the balloons. The stock market is almost bound to go up by November. The historian with the glad tidings is Smith Barney equity strategist John Manley.
If you go back and look in this century, I guess there have been 23 presidential elections. In the 6 months leading into those elections, there's never been a bad stock market.
Manley analyzed Standard & Poor's Composite Index from May to November of every presidential year since 1904. The average gain was twice that of a typical half year in the stock market. And in the only two pre-election periods that the S&P didn't rise, 1920 and 1948, the dips were small. After its recent tumult, the stock market will have to get busy if it wants to avoid becoming the exception of the century. At midweek, the S&P 500 was down more than 3% from the beginning of May. Like many analysts, Manley blames that decline mainly on concern about corporate earnings. But he thinks the trend of interest rates will guide the market from now till November, and he doubts the Federal Reserve will push rates up. So he expects the Dow Jones Industrials to climb about 5% by Election Day.
If I had to pick a number, I'd say probably around 5,600. I think it's going to be a decent market, and I think it's ultimately a tougher market to make money in than it's been in the last year and a half. But it's not bad, and it's still worth sticking around for.
Beyond the election, bets are off. Another market historian, Yael Hirsch, has established that big bear markets also follow a pattern. They usually start in the year after a presidential election. I'm William S. Rukeyser for CNN Financial News, New York.
Headline Sports is up next. First, the play of the day.
It was not Paul McGinley's day at the British Open as he fell from among the leaders to 10 strokes back. But check out this chip from the trap. Rolling, rolling, kerplunk. McGinley can forget about the rest of his lousy day for a minute and savor this beauty of a bunker shot that not only finds the green but knows the way to go home. Paul McGinley, you may not win the Open, but here's the headline news play of the day.
This is Headline News, a CNN network.
Heartland Music presents